Power creep has become more and more of a problem in competitive singles over the years, and a side effect of this is that a huge amount of Pokemon end up in a limbo state. Most Pokemon banned from the OU tier for being too dominant are still not quite good enough to see much usage in Ubers. There is a massive amount of Pokemon that just don't have a format they can call home. For a long time, players have been asking for some kind of new format to address this issue, and that's exactly what the player Kind Squared aimed to do, with the creation of Ubers UU. Ubers UU is a format just below Ubers. Pokemon that are above a certain usage threshold in Ubers are banned from Ubers UU, meaning all of the Pokemon available to use in this format are the Pokemon in that limbo state. This includes many of the Pokemon banned from OU, like Palafin, Cyclizar, and Espathra, and also underpowered legendaries that never see much success in Ubers formats, like Dialga and Landorus. Now these Pokemon finally have a format where they can be relevant. I've discussed this format before on the channel, but I'm talking about it again because something huge has happened. Ubers UU is officially available to play on the main Pokemon Showdown client. You can queue up some Ubers UU games right now and play with some of your forgotten favorites like Chi-Yu and Baxcalibur. Let's take a look at how this format has developed so far, what Pokemon and team styles are popular, and what we can expect for the future. But first, don't forget to check out jimothycool.com and get your very own Iron Mugulis, now available in Canada. So this is the most recent tier list for Ubers UU, and as you can see, you're going to see a lot of Pokemon here that you rarely see in other formats. It's pretty cool. The best Pokemon in the format is Magearna, which should come as no surprise to be honest. This is an excellent Pokemon in every way. Steel Fairy is one of the best type combinations in the game. It has great utility moves like Spikes and Volt Switch for pivoting. It has both offensive and defensive sets it can use. Shift Gear sets are great for sweeping. You have Floor Cannon, incredibly powerful Fairy stab move, myriad coverage options, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and it can even use Trick Room, which is pretty useful in Ubers UU to enable Ursaluna strategies. I know Magearna is a Pokemon a lot of people really dislike. It has a reputation for being really broken in previous OU formats, eventually getting banned, but in this environment it feels pretty balanced. It gives the format some stability. It's a glue. It can fit on a lot of different styles, fill gaps with its versatility. It's a central Pokemon that could not fit in any other format. It's not quite good enough for Ubers, but too powerful for OU, so here it is in Ubers UU wreaking havoc. Palkia Origin is another great Pokemon, better than its base form. Extra speed stat and powerful Lustrous Globe item turn Palkia Origin into a potent threat in this format. It has great stabber types, great defensive typing too, a lot of different coverage, Fire Blast, I believe it gets Thunderbolts. This is a pretty straightforward offensive threat, but I really like this Pokemon. It has a lot of set variety. It looks awesome, and this is a format where it can really thrive. In Ubers, this Pokemon is never seen. It's really outclassed by the other dragons. It's not fast enough. Uber's power level is really high in Gen 9. This Pokemon is kind of the perfect mascot for this format, one of those forgotten legendaries that's just not quite good enough, but here it finally has a home. And just at a glance folks, you got Pokemon like Cyclizar, Palafin, Zacian's hero form, some of the lesser seen Arceus forms like Arceus Dark and Arceus Poison, Dialga. One funny aspect of this format is that Cutiefly is a viable choice, which is honestly comical. Cutiefly, the not fully evolved form of Ribombee, because Ribombee is actually banned since it has too high of a usage in Ubers. So the next best thing is Cutiefly, and it has Sticky Web, Moonblast. The whole purpose of Ribombee is just to set webs and threaten stuff with Fairy Stab, Stun Spore stuff. Cutiefly can do all the same thing. It has less stats, but this is still valid. This is still valuable. Let's go Cutiefly. You got a viable niche role amongst all of these powerful fellas. Cutiefly ranked above Darkrai here. I would like to draw attention to this. My first impression of this format when I first played it was that it was very skewed towards hyper offensive strategies with, you know, Espathra, Cyclizar, stuff like that legal. Now we even have Rillaboom Sneasler starting to rise up in popularity, and Hyper Offense is certainly a great team style in this format, but as things have progressed, more variety in team styles have developed. There's actually a lot of really good balanced teams, and since those Pokemon that dominate the defensive utility roles in Ubers and OU like Great Tusk and Clodsire aren't here, you have fellas like Clefable and Melodic even rising up in prominence. Rillaboom with an Assault Vest is being used to give the team some chip heal and a specially defensive pivot. This is just a team that you would never see in any other format. Arceus Fire, Clefable, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Melodic. It's a strange combination of Pokemon, but this is a pretty smart team structure in this format. It has the Spectria win condition, The Carmine Blood Moon Ursaluna as well. Good mix of special threats, physical threats, bulky threats, and defensive core too. This is an awesome example of how this format stands out from anything else. It's a very distinct format. Since Skeledirge can't be used here, Clefable is a really popular unaware Pokemon to counteract all the popular Shed Tail into Boost Sweeper teams. This format also came at a great time because when DLC 2 comes out, there's going to be a lot more returning legendaries, and it's very likely that a lot of them are going to have low usage in Ubers. Ubers has gotten really powerful. I mean, Reshiram is an example of an Ubers Pokemon that has never really been a relevant threat in any Ubers format. It's a niche choice at best, usually. Same with Zekrom, and I'm sure this will be true of Lunala, something like this. Genesect. All of these Pokemon that will probably end up in that limbo state now have a new format where they can actually be good, and we can use these Pokemon that never really get to be used. Some Ubers that are viable now, have high usage now, will probably get pushed down too as the power level overall increases, and new Pokemon will be introduced to OU and they'll probably get banned. Now they'll have a format where they can exist. To give you an idea of what you might see in a typical Ubers UU match, here's a tournament replay. Now look at these teams. We've got the Rillaboom Sneasler offense with Chi-Yu, Dragonite, Ceruledge, and Palkia Origin. This is a squad you wouldn't see anywhere else. And here we got the typical good old Cyclozan, Ninetales, Alola, Espathra, Super Hyper Offense Shed Tail team with Aurora Veil. Palkia Origin and Chi-Yu are probably a couple of rivals. Wow. Terra Fairy, Terra Blast to adapt to the Palkia Origin and KO it cleanly. And it looks like Scarf taking out Cyclozar too. This is that's actually crazy. But Espathra can take advantage of that. Rillaboom is probably pretty nice against this, to be honest. I'm thinking, are we going to see an Assault Vest Rillaboom? Is that what we're looking at? No, just a U-turn out. Sneasler will be able to outrun this, but if Espathra is running Protect, it can gain extra speed. KO Sneasler from here. It is indeed. It is indeed. Dire Claw is really good though, but look at this. Espathra probably going to just stored power this. No Terra. You already spent your Terra on Chi-Yu. We're in an Espathra disaster. This is bringing back terrible memories, I have to admit. But Ceruledge does indeed have the Focus Sash to withstand this. We're bringing it back. This is quite a back and forth. Back to Ninetales. It's all on Baxcalibur's shoes, it looks like. We're going to Aurora Veil up. Ceruledge not choosing to Bitter Blade or anything. Are we going to Bitter Blade into the Baxcalibur? That's probably what you were aiming for, trying to proc your Thermal Exchange. We're going to Swords Dance up with Baxcalibur. Poltergeist missed! That's a 10% chance! And Scale Shot won't work on this Chi-Yu. Are you going to Scale? No. Second... Oh gosh. Terra Blast Fairy will get you. Overheat gives it extra attack. It doesn't matter at this point. It's already more attack than it'll ever need. Now the Fairy type is gone. But you have Outspeeders. You've got Palkia Origin. Draco Meteor should drop this. Spatial Rend. Yes. This is so close. Albaz Brand is weathering the storm. Zacian Hero might be able to clean up the game still. But Dragonite still has multi-scale. Rillaboom just falls. Just a sack. Ceruledge can Shadow Sneak for some chip damage, stall out the Aurora Veil turns, and are we thinking Dragonite lives a hit? There's no more Aurora Veil, so Dragonite can... No, it just dies! This is insane. This is actually down to the wire. I think Palkia Origin will fall too. What a close game. I guess with Choice Band you can just destroy a multi-scale Dragonite. Usually they'll Terra, but this game didn't have it. So if you're interested in Ubers UU folks, you want to use these Pokemon that you haven't been able to use for a while. Now you can. You can queue it up right now on Pokemon Showdown. Here's a bunch of teams you can borrow if you want to try it out for yourself. I'll link this thread in the description. A lot of cool teams to draw inspiration from or just try out. Give it a go folks. Something fresh, something new and interesting in this Smogon world. We love to see it. Thank you, folks. Thank you to the patrons for your continued support. And thank you as well to everyone who has donated to my Gen 3 OU tournament, ADV Revival.
Whoa! KO by one hit! It's scattered spike!
The money got different, 'cause of what I'm spending.